I'm Julie Nelson. Welcome to KARE 11 Extras. These are the stories that take a little extra time to tell, to research, to find. They are meant to inspire, inform, and ignite curiosity. And in this episode, when AI fakes cause real harm, who's responsible? We look at a case in point involving a Minnesota man that got nationwide attention. Plus, new research on what all that social media is doing to our brains, and a new effort to keep kids under 16 off of it. But we begin in the land of 10,000 stories. BS usually has bad connotations, but some BS being served up at a senior living home in Waconia is serving a pretty good purpose. And as Boyd Hooper reports, that's no BS.
Birds get it. Life out here is better together. Same inside.
So how are you guys doing today?
At Westview Acres Senior Living, the men at this coffee-fueled twice-a-week meetup came up with a name.
The Men's BS Coffee Club.
Perfect.
You got it. BS.
Unless you're Denise Leonhardt, who sends out the activities calendar to residents and their families.
Yeah, I have different meaning for those two words. Boys with stories.
The boys, Scott.
Right. Yes, just exactly.
Then, as the men went about their BSing,
Life has its ups and its downs.
a funny thing happened.
The ladies were jealous, yes.
Good morning, Phyllis.
They wanted
We love gossiping.
their own BS club.
Beautiful and successful ladies. That's what we are.
Men here, women there. And Denise, perfectly placed.
Did you see how dolled up she is today?
And I can hear what they're talking about.
The last couple of weeks, the doctor got mad at me because I put on, I'm sure, 5 pounds. I was supposed to lose 28 pounds.
Well, maybe your scale was off.
So which table better earns the BS title?
I would say there. Yeah, they do.
Ours is true, theirs is BS.
Boy, that's the news that they spend it. That's really something.
Because they like to.
Well, but that's
She always got something to say.
You know what's really fun is to listen to the laughter.
But laughter is only the half of it.
Yeah, they have some really deep conversations out there.
It was a tough time.
Sherry Geeson, like most of the women at her table,
Oh, yeah.
lost her husband.
I lost mine in 2001.
And it'll be 6 years next month that she's passed away.
Nick Kranz lost 2 wives.
Yep.
Not an easy path.
No. And I lost 2 kids.
It's definitely therapeutic.
Denise recently overheard one of those talks.
It was kind of a raw conversation because he just laid it all out there, how they met, how they fell in love, and how much he misses her. And then they told about their spouses and how hard it is.
BS
It's helpful.
is also
I find it so anyway.
being supportive.
Most of the time when they leave, they have smiles on their face, and not necessarily when they come down.
Like oxygen, conversations sustain life.
We get together like this and stuff, and it helps.
Take it from the birds in the bush. BS is best seats in the house.
So that'll be the coldest day of the year.
Boyd Hooper, KARE 11 News,
Here we go, girls.
Waconia.
30 below.
The Women's BS Club avoids political discussions. The men have no such prohibition. When the conversation turns political, the men say they try to be respectful of each other's opinions or just sit quietly until the subject passes. You can now watch full half-hour specials from Boyd's Land of 10,000 Stories right here on KARE 11 Plus. Just look under the News tab at the top. You can also watch every story beginning from 2004 by searching for the Land of 10,000 Stories, the complete collection, on YouTube. It has been 1 year since that Delta flight from Minneapolis crash landed at the Toronto airport, flipping over and landing upside down. Amazingly, everyone survived. But as Sunrise anchor Jason Hackett found out, that doesn't mean things have been easy in the years since.
If you told him a year ago a plane crash would be just the start of his struggles,
yeah,
John Nelson probably wouldn't believe you.
I mean, there's not a day that I don't deal with it in some way, right? Sleep has been really elusive for the past couple of months as well.
It's not easy for John to relive that nightmarish day. Even having this conversation now, is this a little bit triggering for you?
Yeah, that's it. I had a window seat. I was like hyper aware of the moment.
Delta Flight 4819 was coming in for a landing at Toronto Pearson Airport.
It felt like we were coming in very fast.
Oh, no. What happened next caught on this dramatic video by a bystander.
You could feel the inertia and the force of the plane like just hitting the ground. And then the right landing gear breaks, and that's what causes it to tip to the left, and then the wing hits the ground. Jet fuel smell, fire hanging upside down.
Amazingly, every passenger and crew member, all 80 on board, survived.
We get off the plane and you're glad to be alive, right? And so for those first couple of days, besides like the soreness, you start to think like, hey, this wasn't like horrible. Like, I'm alive, like I don't feel terrible. And then what happens is like the stress starts to release from the body.
John says that stress is showing up mentally and physically.
I had a torn retina, so they came in and they had to like stitch my eye essentially back together. Like a disc issue that's causing like numbness in my first two fingers on that arm as well.
It caused him to cut down on traveling for work. At this point, getting on a plane is basically impossible for him to do. He says he leans on a group chat he and other survivors created for support.
And there are very few people that can say they survived a plane crash.
And he's hearing similar things.
I don't believe anybody escaped sort of unharmed. Neck and sort of back issues, the PTSD, the struggles just kind of day in and day out with anxiety.
Struggles personally and with Delta.
In those first couple days after the accident, they were so very proactive, trying to talk to make this right. And then everything just comes to a screeching halt, right? And this is very lengthy process at this point.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm mixed emotions about that as well, right? Like, I do believe that this accident could have been prevented.
In the midst of uncertainty and pain, John says he appreciates the little moments.
But we ended upside down. I was hanging there in my seatbelt upside down.
But did you die?
How much do those moments of levity help with the situation?
Yeah, I find some humor in it. So like for me, that's very like helpful.
Knowing how close he was to losing everything helps to put life in perspective and his family's love in full focus.
The four of us have always been very close, but now it's just a little bit sweeter in life, you know, kind of feeling, right? It has changed my perspective on life. I don't think it'll ever sort of go back, and I'm just happy to be here.
KARE 11 did reach out to Delta for comment. A spokesperson told us they are still fully engaged in the investigation and are awaiting a final report from the Transportation Safety Board of Canada. You can watch a full half-hour special on that crash that includes a reenactment and more stories on how everyone managed to get out alive. Just search for Surviving Flight 4819 wherever you stream KARE 11. Still ahead, brain rot, what researchers find social media is doing to our brain. Plus,
Star Tribune's CEO falsely identified as the ICE agent who shot Renee Good.
See people saying, let's go get him and his family.
Fake images hurting real people. Who's held responsible when AI is used for something absolutely inaccurate? Next.
we know just about everybody uses social media, but the Surgeon General's office finds a third of teenagers report using it almost constantly. And that is particularly concerning considering what researchers are finding it does to your brain. Rena Sargentopoulos has more on that, and a group of Minnesota moms taking action to keep kids off it as long as possible.
How was your day?
Most parents are keenly aware of how social media has been affecting our kids. We're also aware that once they start, it's hard to pull back. So what do we do? a group of moms from Edina, Minnesota has decided to take a different approach.
We had to get ahead of it.
Attacking the problem on the front end. Each of them has an oldest kid in the 4th grade, none of whom have been on social media yet.
I reached out to my 4th grade boy mom text chain, and I was like, hey, this has been on my heart, it's been on my mind. Do you think we could do something?
Buzz Off Social is an initiative that we formed. There's a pledge that the families can read together. It talks about staying off social media until you're 16. We can show these names to our kids and say, hey, your friends are also not going to be on social media, which takes away that peer pressure.
A pressure that is very real.
It definitely has a negative impact on mental health.
Owen O'Neill sees it in his friend group and beyond. It inspired him to do a research project last year and to work with these moms to create the website for the Buzz Off Social Pledge.
I see the same photo of a girl like 20 times because everyone wants to be the one to repost her and really feel validated. And then some people don't get any reposts, and it's kind of a social hierarchy almost.
And that is just the tip of the dangers that hide inside social media sites.
This like-based economy and kind of like how it's pulling them into kind of watching other people's lives and not living as much of their own.
Dr. Joshua Stein says this move to short-form videos has led to mindless scrolling, but it's not just a time waster. It's causing something called brain rot. We as adults probably feel it too, but listen to how he explains why it's even more concerning for kids.
Our brains are losing working memory skills, they're losing computational skills, and that's for people my age who develop them. And so kids are not developing the same skill sets, the same effort sets, the same ability to use their brain, and that's kind of scary. We're seeing more and more evidence that kids don't hold things as long. They can maybe hold it in working memory for an exam, but then it dissipates. We see that there's issues with anxiety, body image, and at some points can lead to self-harm, depression, and other larger concerns. So what steps are these companies going to take? Because this is something that's causing detriments to human beings.
Dr. Stein does believe the pendulum is swinging the other direction. The state of Minnesota last year requiring districts to create policies around phone usage in school. And some countries like Australia recently taking the aggressive move to ban social media for kids under the age of 16.
We have heard the cries of families who are suffering.
Under the new law, tech companies are required to crack down on underage accounts or else face millions in fines.
That's pretty huge.
Denmark, France, Norway, Malaysia, and China have all either passed or intend to pass restrictions for kids and social media. And until tech companies or our government does something similar, it's up to us to fix it. Put the peer pressure on the parents.
I think that a lot of parents know that it's not good for our children, but do it anyways. So their kid is included and isn't left out of their friendship circles. So hopefully we're making this easier for parents also to say, hey, here's a pledge.
And I think that kids are smart enough to take in that message and start to understand the why instead of just being told no.
Hopefully this will jumpstart and get the ball rolling.
For all of the good in AI advances, there is a bad that's already turning into a real problem. When people use it to manipulate photos and videos, the damage goes way beyond the fact that it's fake. It can lead to chaos and confusion. And when that happens, who's being held responsible? Chris Harapsky has some recent drastic examples where the concern is real and the answer is complicated.
No! After the world saw this, the hunt to ID the ICE agent who shot Renee Good became a torrent of disinformation. According to X's AI chatbot, Grok, multiple users asked it to unmask the face of the ICE agent, a digital best guess for Grok. The fake face was posted. Under it, a comment calling the man Steve Grove of Minneapolis.
As I dug into it, I saw claim after claim saying that I was the shooter.
This is Steve Grove of Minneapolis, who happens to be the publisher of the Minnesota Star Tribune.
You started to see people saying, let's go get him and his family. Let's get this man and make him pay for what he did. And at some point, there were 6,000 to 7,000 posts on this across 7 different platforms.
Once the agent's real identity was revealed, the fake story died down. Grove is upset, though, that this viral mishap took away from the actual story.
Did you ever think about any legal repercussions, any filing a lawsuit?
No, we didn't. I mean, again, I'm safe, my family's safe, people have moved on. We don't want to distract from the attention.
I couldn't believe it.
Nakima Levy-Armstrong has a similar story, but hers goes all the way to the top. The attorney and activist was arrested after interrupting a church service in protest of the pastor's employment with ICE. Homeland Security released one image of Levy-Armstrong's arrest. Shortly after, the White House released an AI-altered version.
They darkened my skin. They exaggerated my features. They had tears streaming down my face. They had my hair disheveled. I believe that because the White House could not break me, they put out an image showing me broken, which is absolutely despicable and disgusting.
So do you think you have a legal path to sue here?
Well, I'm hoping to be able to sue.
Both cases beg the question, who's responsible when AI is used to harm someone?
Most of the AI that we interact with is subject to terms and conditions that we agree to.
AI lawyer and Stanford law fellow Aaron Kahana says recent case law has spared AI developers. In one of the first major AI cases, a Georgia radio host sued OpenAI after ChatGPT falsely claimed that he'd committed a crime. The court dismissed that case, saying a mistake was made with no proof that OpenAI intended to harm the guy. But when a person uses AI to create a fake image or audio clip and spread it, courts are less forgiving. In Maryland, a school employee was sentenced to jail after using AI to create a racist deepfake recording of a principal. Okay, but what if, like in Levy-Armstrong's case, the government does it?
The White House is immune from these things by design, by Congress design.
Kahana says not only is the president immune to civil and criminal prosecution for acting on the job, but a law passed by Congress just after World War II bars people from suing the federal government explicitly for defamation.
The question really is whether or not what the White House did was illegal. It's not. It's bad taste, for sure. Is it illegal? No.
Who does Steve Grove blame?
I put the blame squarely on X. You create these tools, and you better know how they're going to be used and think through the moral implications of them. And I don't think that company or that platform is doing that.
Levy-Armstrong hopes her case can lead to citizen protections against government attacks.
We need to be watchful and mindful of what's happening here, because if they're allowed to get away with this, in my case, the sky's the limit in terms of what they'll do next.
We have had a law in Minnesota for 3 years now banning AI use on deepfakes around elections, as well as non-consensual sexual imagery.
2 years after 3 Burnsville first responders were killed in the line of duty.
His sacrifice is going to be remembered.
An effort to honor them in a way that will live on for generations. Next.
A city illuminated in blue and red remembers 3 fallen first responders. It's been 2 years since officers Matthew Ruge and Paul Elmstrand, along with paramedic Adam Finseth, were shot and killed in the line of duty in Burnsville. They died doing what they were called to do, protecting a woman and 7 children from a man with a gun during an act of domestic violence. They had been negotiating with that man for hours when he suddenly opened fire before taking his own life. The recent memorials stayed up for days, but there is a special honor in the works that will have a lasting impact for generations to come. Kent Erdahl meets one of the moms still grieving the loss of her son and shares her part in keeping their legacies alive.
I received many of these.
Gifts honoring service and sacrifice.
Medals of Honor, Police Officer of the Year.
Remain proudly displayed.
This was given to me in Washington, D.C. during Police Week.
Inside Christy Hankey's home, 2 years after her son, Burnsville Police Officer Matt Ruge, was killed in the line of duty alongside Officer Paul Elmstrand and firefighter paramedic Adam Finseth.
This was the flag that was handed to me during the memorial.
In the weeks, months, and now years following that tragedy.
This was Matt's uniform, and they created a bear for me.
The gifts honoring Matt's legacy kept coming.
I lost count of how many.
But she hasn't lost sight of their significance.
Some of the most special things that I received were from kids.
Each one helping keep their legacy,
Dear officer,
his legacy, alive.
Matthew, thank you for your service. Me and my family appreciate you very much. We love you.
This year brings another gift.
Well, I printed off some of the essays.
The Heroes Helping Heroes Burnsville Memorial Scholarship.
I can just share a couple lines from some of them.
Inspires new stories of service.
From a young age, I was immersed in the world of first responders.
From 10 future leaders.
Now, here's another one. I received a bachelor's degree in social work and criminal justice.
All of them honoring the 3 taken too soon.
Their legacy inspires me to honor that sacrifice by dedicating my career to supporting the mental health
and well-being of first responders.
Lauren Foss is one of those leaders, but the Hamline University senior didn't do it alone.
It wasn't until I witnessed my father's journey with PTSD that really made me realize the significant impact that mental health can have on people.
After her father was forced to retire early from a career he loved, Lauren decided to seek a new path of service.
To become a licensed psychologist.
And now, with grad school on the horizon, the Burnsville native learned she's getting a $4,500 boost from Heroes Helping Heroes in honor of her own hometown heroes.
This is not something that I'll ever forget by any means. It's life-changing.
It's just an honor to be part of it and to be able to give back a little bit of what people have been so generous giving me.
Christy is on the scholarship committee, along with Adam Finseth's wife.
Lauren's was outstanding.
Though she has one big confession.
I couldn't do it. I literally could not pick a favorite, which is why I jumped in with the foundation that I set up for Matt to give everybody a scholarship.
The 9 other applicants will receive $1,000 each, along with handwritten notes.
Just thanking them and how their essay moved me. As a mother, that's the most important thing, knowing that my son's name is not going to be forgotten and his sacrifice is going to be remembered.
Which brings her to her final gift.
I'm just doing a tiny note to Lauren
that she allowed us to deliver.
I would love to see it. Oh, wow.
Dear Lauren, your essay deeply touched me. I'm so impressed by your story and how you are making a difference. Thank you for carrying on the legacy of the Burnsville Heroes, especially my son, Matt. Christy.
Wow, that is beautiful. There's not a lot of words. It's just, I'm honored to have sacrificed your life for another individual. That's a legacy that I don't think can or should ever be forgotten.
That was KARE 11's Kent Erdahl. Remember, you can continue to catch up on KARE 11 Extras right here on KARE 11 Plus. Go to the News tab at the top, then scroll down to Extras. I'm Julie Nelson. Thanks for watching.